Hello, this is a tutorial on using the tool Google Sites to build a website. Google Sites is free. It's a part of your Baker College platform. There are other tools that you can use, like Weebly or Wix, that are also free, but they're a third-party app, and although they also have a very easy learning curve, sometimes based on some of the items that you may want to add to the website, it's just easy to use Google Sites because it very easily can sync with all of the rest of your Google tools. So what are some of the things that you can do with Google Sites? Again, it's a website builder, so the instructional strategies can be used for compare and contrast, reflection, digital storytelling, infographics, and anything in the creating area. It's a great way to build an e-portfolio. Students can be creative. There's some problem solving involved because to lay out your website, you have to give some thought, you have to give some forethought to various components, what kind of images, what links, what's the layout look like, the color palette, all those different types of things. So it allows the student to be very creative and innovative. They could do digital storytelling, infographics. It can be used as a resource gathering site or a digital repository, and can also be used for project-based learning. So the way that you would launch Google Sites, I'm going to start from my Baker Gmail account, but you can start from anywhere already within Google. If you're in Drive or in one of the other tools, you can go from there. And I'm going to use this starting point, which Google calls the waffle. And I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to search. Your palette here could look a little different depending on what you use a lot. But somewhere either here, or you may even have to go down into more, there is an icon here for sites. So click on that, you will launch the Google Sites. Now if you haven't built any sites before in Google, you won't have anything in here. This will be blank. But we are currently in My Sites in Baker.edu because I am in my Baker College Google account. All of these sites are sites that I've created using that particular account, or sites that has been shared with me and I have access to. So again, I would just click on these to launch them, just to give you a quick idea of some of the design elements that you can place in here. I have the name of my site, I got a navigation area over to the side, I have a title, I got a home button where I can get back to where I need to be. I have placed a calendar, I have a link to a survey, and then I also have a map in here to show the location of where I'm currently located using this site. Also, you have the ability to browse sites, which allows you to look at different categories to see what's already out there. So if you wanted to do something in education, or you wanted to do something in business or art, you could click here to see what types of sites have already been created if you're looking for ideas. We're going to go into Create, which is this button here, and here we have some choices. Now, before we get started on exactly what you're going to need to do in the steps in the process, I believe it always makes sense to do what we call storyboarding. So get yourself some paper and something to write with, or you can even do it on a computer and just start listing what are some of the items. How do I want it laid out? Do I want a menu along the top? Do I want a menu along the left side, the right side, the bottom? There's going to be some choices you're going to have to make along the way. And yes, you can change those choices. You can always edit choices. But sometimes when you spend a lot of time building, if you know how you want to lay it out ahead of time first, that can save you an awful lot of time and trouble when sometimes the editing is a little bit more cumbersome to do, because once you have something laid out on the left, and if you change the theme, maybe it no longer looks good on the left, and maybe you have to do a lot of rebuilding to move it to the top or the right side or the bottom. So it's always easy, I think, to storyboard it out first, figure out what you want everything to look like, and then begin. Now you can browse the gallery to come up with some templates, because there's a number of templates to use. There is a nice one that's out there for e-portfolio. So if you're in an English class and you want some people to put together some examples of their writing and an e-portfolio would kind of work for you. You might want to take a look at that before you build what it is that you would like the student to submit. But generally, I always start in training with a blank template, because once you learn how to use a blank template, you'll find that there might be a template that works for you pretty close, but then you need to go in and edit. And I'm going to show you all those editing features in building the blank template. You also have the ability down here to select a theme, which essentially is just giving you some color layouts. Again, you can change this later. I'm not going to play with this right now. What I'm actually going to create in this tutorial is a relatively boring website, but I just want to show you how you edit, how you add things, how you move things around, how you insert things. So you need to give your site a name, and if you pick a name that is already being used, it will alert you to that fact. And so it tells you that your sites can only use various characters. Bob Test 400. Okay, so if that would have been something that was already existing, I would have gotten an error message that I can't use that, and I would have had to change that. So the URL for my particular website is going to be listed right here. https://sites.google.com/a/baker.edu/ and then Bob Test, which is what I named my site. So maybe this is something you want to have a little bit different. Maybe you want to give it a little bit more of a descriptor. So if this was a student submitting this for a class, it might be Pain ENG 101 dash, well, I can't do dash, 05, which would be the 5th assignment or something in the class. So you could determine how you would want students to put that together if that was important to you. If you're going to use it for a class, maybe a site you want to kind of use as a digital repository to collect a bunch of websites, articles, videos, that type of thing, then you might call it ENG 1010 or something like that, whatever's the name or number of your class, if that's more helpful. So again, we're going to just start with a blank template. So I have that selected, and then I'm going to hit create. So it's going to take a couple of seconds here, and it's going to create a site, which is essentially a blank canvas or a blank stage for me to work in. And so here I have it. I have some toolbar items up here. I have my sitemap and my home, which is this front page. As I start adding more pages, this area will change. Here's the name of my site. I can go in and change that. And then there's this search area there where somebody, once they get to the site, they can dig deeper into the site. So let's talk about what we have as far as the toolbar goes. The pencil is my icon for editing this particular page. So you have to understand this is going to edit the page that you are currently on. If you want to edit a different page, not the one that's staring you in the screen, not the one that's on your stage right now, you have to actually click on that page and pull that page up, and then you'll edit the page. The next item here, it looks like a piece of paper with a plus sign, and that is how you add a new page. So once you fill up this first page, you're going to add additional pages that are going to have additional content on it, and it's going to start populating kind of a table of contents. But this is how you add the page, and that's what you're going to do with that icon. Most of the work that you're going to do, other than typing and inserting and adding things, is going to be over here in this More Actions, which is the sprocket. And if you hit the drop down, let's just take a moment just to look at what we got here. We have things related to page actions, which are all of these things listed here. So if you need to do something to a particular page, if you want to adjust the settings, if you want to copy a page, print a page, delete a page, what have you, if you want to preview the page, these are all ways that you're going to be able to do that. And this first session deals with page actions. The second session or section here is page templates, so you can build a page and save it as a template so that you can regularly just pull up and create a whole new page and just edit the stuff that's on there. And then there's changing the page template, so if you have this, but you decide that you'd like to edit it, that allows you to edit a page template. And then there's site actions, editing the site, managing the site, sharing the permissions, and that'll be self-explanatory as you get yourself in here. Oftentimes somebody will do one of these for practice, or they'll start working on one and it won't work out the way they wanted to, but now they have a good idea. Maybe they didn't storyboard at first and it got to be a little mess and they're like, wow, I'd like to start over. Well, it's not readily apparent, but you want to go to the managed sites and then down here delete this site. That's the only place that you're going to be able to clear out a site. Okay. Now that being said, whatever I do on this previous page, that I make changes, I'm going to have to save changes on each individual page, and then it has to be published, and then once it's published, it goes live. So there's kind of a two-step process. Years ago, in earlier iterations like 2015, every time you would make a change, not only did you have to save the page, but you had to go in there and publish again. That button has disappeared from the 2015 edition, so I believe it automatically republishes the site. Once you have that site live, it automatically republishes that site. So before I go back into the settings, here's the share area. So at this particular point, since I created this on Baker College's Google Sites area, anybody at Baker College can find and access this unless I decide to change the permissions to something else. So essentially it's public for everybody with an @baker.edu login the way it's currently set up now, but I can actually change the permissions. And we can do that down here. All right, so those are the rest of the settings. Get back out of here, and so let's edit this page. So I get what you would normally see with a lot of other Google tools and or the concept of like a Word document or anything like that. The toolbar looks very similar to what you've seen before. You got your bold, italicized, you can adjust your font and your font type, you can get some coloring in, you can center some things and so forth. So now this is the home page. I can change it to something that might make more sense with what I'm doing. Start here. And I could give it a description if I want. You can always click on Start Here. Be nice if I could spell. Okay, so I have that. All right, so I have some text here. I've kind of renamed this particular page and I've added some stuff here. Now, unless I hit save, nothing happens. But I have to hit save if I want to lock that stuff in. So now you can see that home has changed to Start Here. And the home page was updated a minute ago. So if I want to go back to this particular page because I want to do something, I went again and click that pencil, so the edit the page. So I have some things that I can do. I can insert, format, table, layout. I have some choices. So I can insert a whole bunch of things. And so they have them broken down into the common things that you might want to insert, some gadgets, and some Google applications. So if I wanted to add an image, I can click here and then I can either search the web for an image or I can grab an image that's already off my computer. Same thing with a link. I can create a table of contents. I can have a subpage. I can have horizontal lines. So maybe if you look at a web page, you'll have maybe 3 or 4 text box items or menu items, and then I might have a dividing line, and then I might have some different things. Might be able to be used for separating categories. That's just something I can do. I can put a text box somewhere if I'd like it. I can put an HTML box if I'm going to bring in something that has some embed code that I'd like to load it. And I also have more gadgets, and so I can actually search for types of gadgets that might be available. Okay. Let me go back to insert. Whoops. So over here, here's how I added that particular calendar, and then you can grab the size handles in the corners and you can size it so that it looks appropriate. I can add a chart. I can actually go get something from Google Drive, and those are all the choices. So this is another reason why using Google Sites to build a website, if a lot of the material that you already have is already stored in Google Drive, it makes it really easy to import it into your Google Sites. I can get something from Google+, I can get something from Groups, I can pop some Hangouts in here, I can actually start a Hangout from here, so I can actually have the link in my website. I can put a map, you guys saw that example in mine. And then this is really nice if I want to add a YouTube video. So let's say I'm going to go up here and grab another, because I don't really know what this is called, but there's one that I use for samples all the time. And it's Steve Jobs on managing people. Okay, so I grab this. Steve Jobs talks about managing people. So I grab this one. We don't need to listen to it. I can grab the share link here, and so it's already highlighted for me right here. So I'm just going to hit Command C on a Mac, Control C on a PC, in other words copy, and I'm going to go back to my place and I'm going to pop that in. The video size I'm going to leave alone, include border, include title. I can add, because right now it says YouTube video, so if I wanted to say Steve Jobs on managing people, and then hit save, that's now in here. Now it doesn't look like there's anything other than this title that I put in, but why is that, do you think? Well, it's because I haven't locked it in, and remember, in order to lock things in, I have to hit save. So now we see the video. Okay, now this start here, and then I have the description. This is the first page. I may want to go in and obviously edit that and make sure that this video shows up below this. So I think I had my cursor probably right around where this first part was, and so it moved this above that. I can go back in and edit that page, and I can come down here. Let's get rid of this. So maybe I have this here, right? And then I'm going to space below it a couple of times. Now I'm going to go do my insert. And now I'm going to do my YouTube. And now I'm going to pop my link in. Everything else is the same. Steve Jobs managing people. And hit save. So there we go. Once again, I have to hit save in order to lock the changes in. Now you can see it looks a little bit better because I have my language here and I now have my video. So let's say I want to add another page. I'm just going to click there and I'm going to name my second page. Now you could be as simple as second page. All right. Where do I want? Do I want to put it under so it's like second page, or do I want to put it at the top level? And I'm creating the page. So now I have my second page, and again, that's the name. I can add something that I'd like to it. I can go and I can add an additional page. For right now, I'm just going to hit save, lock that second page in. I'm going to go back and create another page. Third page. You get the idea. That other area where we showed an option to put it underneath one of these other pages, that's like a sub page. So think about it and indent it for a sub page under here. If that's something that you would like to do, you can do that. Again, I have the ability to add the same, not locked in until I hit save. So let's say I'm going to go back to the second page and I'm going to do some editing on this page now. Now we're in the second page, and so now I can go back and I can edit. And here's where I can go back to insert and add something. I can add an image. And I'm going to upload images from, see if I even have anything here. Let's see if this one will work. It's a JPEG. It's not real big, so maybe she'll work. There we go. Alt text, alternative text. And I can go ahead and pop that in there and then hit save if I'm good to go. Okay. I also have the ability to add a file. So if I wanted to add, a document, I could go ahead and add that document. And then when it uploads, it's going to pop it in there for me. And so I have that document here. I can then, it's available for downloading from somebody who's going to look at it, or if I decide I've changed my mind, there's the X to delete it. Okay. And then I want to go back to page 3 now. And I will edit this particular page. Again, I'm assuming everybody knows what format and layout and table. I could create a table and put it in there if that's what I wanted to do. I have other things that I may want to add to this. I could add the calendar. If it was important for me, I could find my own calendar. Those are all the calendars I have shared with me. I could, and we're going to just play with some of these. I don't know how large this is actually going to be, but obviously you can go back and change it. We're going to do 300 by 360, show it as a month, choose a time zone. Central, Eastern Standard Time. There we are. I can decide what I want and what I don't want here. Again, hit save. I've now added my calendar. You can decide whether or not that's large enough, but you can see how it's active. It's hyperlinked to whatever's going on those particular days. When there's nothing going on, there's nothing to click on because there's nothing going on. And we're in month view. We can show the week view. We can print it. You know, all those types of things. So there might be some value to do that. Probably if you're using it for class, you're going to want students to be loading artifacts of their work. So there might be a video, there might be an infographics that they create, there could be some type of digital storytelling app they use, they might have a research paper, they might have a spreadsheet, they might have a poster. There's all kinds of different things that they can do, but hopefully I've showed you how easy it is to actually create a website using Google Sites. So I click on the share permission. So just like a lot of other things in Google Sites, or actually in any Google app, I am the owner, and this is who has rights right now, and I have the ability to change that. I can invite additional people to this. Here's where I have some abilities to change some things. I can now do some things with themes and colors if I would like to, because right now I don't have anything selected. But I do have some options, either grabbing my own images, or I can create and select a theme from inside the Google Sites area. And so you have access to that particular page itself. Let me save this. We are in Manage Sites. So they're saving my website, and now we have the ability to go in and get that every time. So here we are. And if I were to leave and go back into my email and wanted to pull up my site that I just created, again, I'm going to go to Sites, and this one's now going to show up. Here's my Bob Test 400. There's the website. And so I can get right into that site and start working again. So hopefully this was helpful to those of you who are interested in using Google Sites to create your own website. Thank you.